Again, my name's Jonathan Brown. I'm with the Digital Innovation Lead, or I am the Digital Innovation Lead for Sustainable Cobourg, a nonprofit here in town. And
for number 2, Nate up there. 5 minutes. Yeah.
Sustainable Cobourg is about 3 things. Economic growth, environmental stewardship, and the climate, sustainability of the climate. And I'm looking at using different ways of using different digital tools to support those 3 aspects. So Jen also works with other government organizations, and actually the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority is one of 37 conservation authorities in Ontario, and their mandate is to protect our watersheds, which is a real challenge because watersheds and water do not respect municipal boundaries or other kinds of boundaries, international boundaries. So their job is really tough because they have to persuade multiple players to cooperate in how we protect our watersheds. So I'm going to play this video, and Mike Smith will explain. Welcome. We're here today with Mike Smith from the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority. And Mike, who are you? What do you do and how do you do it?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I am the water resource technician here at the Conservation Authority. And so my job is to collect all kinds of data about water resources. I mainly focus on hydrology, hydrogeology, and water chemistry. And so that means that I go out and collect samples and measure water levels and take flow measurements in the creeks and things like that. So I use all that data in watershed reporting and letting people know what's going on in the environment. So with that, we're using new technology these days called Data Stream. And that's one of the programs online that you can go to and look for data. And I've been uploading data there for a couple of years now. So there's starting to be some useful data sets that you guys can access.
That's great. Now, how does that support citizen science?
And look for data, and I've been uploading data there for a couple of years now. So there's starting to be some useful data sets that you guys can access.
And how might citizen science contribute to that data set and also use it to promote stewardship in the town of Cobourg and Northumberland County?
Well, as far as I know, it's an open data platform. So anyone can register and enter their own data. So it's great that people are out there collecting more data, which fills in the holes in between sites that I do and identifies, really good habitat spots for fish and aquatic insects on certain people's properties. And it might also indicate some areas that need improvement, and that's where stewardship comes in. So one of our other departments here at the Conservation Authority is stewardship promotion. We can go out and help landowners to plant their trees. We help them with financial assistance, and planting trees in the right spots helps the watersheds. And that's what we're all here to do, and improve the water quality in doing so.
So that's great. So this is where it all starts. This is a water gauge station on William Street. And what this does is it collects the information from the Cobourg Creek that runs by it. And when there's an extreme thunderstorm or whatever, and the water goes up, then it triggers a sensor that then will collect that water from a storm event and send it off to the lab in Barrie, and Barrie lab tests it for what the mineral content and other parameters like your pH, your conductivity, and your alkalinity, things you're going to be doing out at Brook Creek with the kit that Laura's going to teach you about shortly. And so it starts here. And the thing is, it's only doing areas that are on public lands. Now, when the land is owned by a landowner and it's upstream, that's where citizen science and community research comes in, because the landowners then can add their data, water quality testing data, to this data set, and then you get a picture of the water quality in that whole ecosystem. And that's what you're going to be doing over at Brook Creek shortly. So that's where it starts, and it goes up to this platform called Data Stream that he mentioned. And in this Data Stream platform, do I dare turn it on? Let's try. It may not come up. Oh, there we are. Okay, so what you see here are those stations. So the station that you just saw might be one of these three dots, probably this one over here. And then there's a landowner up in Cornish Hollow, and that would be up in this area. And then whatever happens up here comes down, joins Cobourg Creek, goes past that gauge and into Lake Ontario. And what comes from here down to there depends on the weather, the storm conditions that bring the stuff into the stream and down. And what that brings into the stream are things like fertilizer off agricultural land. And that's the stuff that creates the algae blooms that closes the beaches. You saw that beach sign? So they test that regularly starting in June. I think the new test is up. That one there was from last year. And then what you really want to be able to do is minimize these algae blooms, because you can take action up here to make sure that the nature, the riparian zoonicole is healthy, and it's filtering out all of those phosphorus elements and nitrogen, and that prevents algae blooms. That means you can keep the beach open longer. That means that there's more economic recreational activity happening in the town of Cobourg. That's good for us because it helps us to not only protect the land, but also to enjoy it. So that's what this platform does. Now, the interesting thing, I'll just show you a few things. I can go up here and I can, whoops, change that bar. Well, let me get up here. Do that one more time. I can put something around. I can just select a few of these like that. Then I can go to the, I can see it. I have to get past this. Where is it? I can't see the button, but anyhow, up here I can click on it, these 4 tabs. I can see the statistics just for the dots that I highlighted there, the colored ones. You can see that some of them are upstream and some are downstream. So then you can compare what you're testing for this afternoon at Brook Creek. You're going to be testing down here, and then we can also do tests upstream. And we can compare them to see, okay, is the pH level higher? Is the dissolved oxygen level? What's the difference between the two sites? And then you can begin to think, okay, what could be contributing to the differences that we're seeing in the data? And then once you have that, then you can create a visual map like this one. And you can also do what's called a story map, which is what I'm using to do this presentation. Now, this is an example of using digital apps. If you want to, what you can do is you can go to the app store, and you can search for the Water Rangers app, and you can download it, and then you can create your account. If you don't have to do this, this is voluntary. And when you go out, you don't have to use your data plan. It works offline. You can fill out your information from the water quality sampling on your little sheets of paper, or you can put it into the app. And then when you come back and you have access to the internet or the Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, it uploads it and puts it on the same map that I showed you a minute ago. And they have people using this app or doing it by hand right in 80 countries across the globe and right across Canada. And then you can support, for example, the federal government is updating the floodplain maps. And so all the information that the federal and the provincial government put out there, those data sets Mike talked about, you can get access to them from this platform, and you can do problem solving at the local level with the data that you put into that data set. So that's kind of cool. And then
So I was gonna say, does anybody wants just to pause for a second while you're trying to get to that screen? You won't have to do the paper over there. You'll just be able to upload it. Take a shot of it so you have it if you want.
So,
You're actually gonna be collecting this data. Very important.
but you do want to have the paper back up.
We'll give you the paper shortly. Yep.
Now, here's the example of another organization that I know have worked with Ms. Drew. Ms. Drew, do you want to say a little bit about who this group is?
Ecospark is a group out of Toronto that has several programs for supporting the environment. So one of them is called Changing Currents. And what they do is they will travel out to a beautiful pristine creek like Cobourg versus the Toronto bodies of water that we've been working in. They love things like Cobourg. And they run a whole program where you are taking water samples in the bottom of the creek using dip nets. You get your hip waders on, you get your dip net, and you shuffle across the creek and you collect samples, and you're analyzing for the little bugs that live in the gravel beneath the stream. And they come and they run that whole program, and they learn some ID, how to ID mosquito larvae and dragonfly larvae and leeches. Sometimes you see in different things that are in the bottom. So it's a biological sampling. But our data is already up on this platform that they use as well.
And I know the biologist at the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority, Lindsay, uses the spreadsheet that Ecospark put together to collect her data, and then it organizes it. And she uses that then to analyze it for patterns. And Ecospark is, I met them because of a project I was involved, and it was the Don River, which is one of the main rivers in Toronto, and it was coming down and it was hitting a man-made creek, channel called the Keating Channel, and it caused flooding in the most valuable real estate property in Toronto. So they put a challenge out, and I joined 2 educators and 2 engineers, and we put together a proposal to take the monitoring data from this big naturalized space they were building, cost $1.25 billion. And they wanted us to create a citizen app to engage students and the broader community in conservation behavior. So we came up with what's called the Mydon. The idea is we'll take this real-time data coming from all these sensors and we'll gamify it. And we'll gamify it so that people that participate going back to the same location will be able to earn badges by learning the science that protects both the water quality and the terrestrial life in that area that they constantly go back to, just like we're going to do with Brook Creek. And then eventually we can take all the data you put in and we can turn it into a game to teach us about the science that is related to water quality protection and ecosystem health. And then this tool is available to you through the school board. It's called Arcgis Online. I found out at lunch that you do have access to this. And you can create these story maps to do projects for any of your courses that you're doing, because it really is a multidisciplinary project when it comes to applying the science, the engineering, and the art to communicate the findings to the broader community. And then we have this little video I want to show you on how you can take citizen science and make an impact on climate action plan for the town of Cobourg.
So what we're seeing here is an example of a Fleming post-grad collaborative research project with Sustainable Cobourg. And they are using the Arcgis Online toolkit to create an interactive web app that can be used to collect information from the field. And as you can see, the information is very similar to what's available from other apps, such as DataStream, Water Rangers, and the Seagull Hub. Once you have all this data collected in a standardized format, it can be easily analyzed for patterns and shared out with other types of interactive web apps like this one. So why not visit the Learn GIS Hub and invent the next interactive app and pitch it to the Town of Cobourg Sustainability and Climate Change Emergency Committee.
There's your opportunity, and you can earn not only badges, but you can actually participate in contests like I did, and you can win money coming up with creative solutions to local problems like how do we protect our source water.
My name is Dean Ingalls, and I live just around here, and I am graduating from grade 12 this year. And I am planning on going into nanotechnology engineering at the University of Waterloo. And so basically, I have grown up birding and doing nature activities with the Willow Beach Field naturalists all throughout Northumberland and sometimes out. And today we're basically looking at this cold water stream, which is very beautiful this time of year.
And this stream is in part of hollow, so it's one hot stream down throughout the creek. So we do a sampling there and one down here where we're going to do
Environmental Council, which is basically designed to give the opinions of young people to David Cheney, who's our Environment Minister, and the Ontario government on how we best think that Ontario should fight the climate crisis.